Welcome to the Tipsy Two.
I want to talk about my crazy neighbor and her freaking geese and her calling me Satan and demon. And
I don't know why do we have to wait next week?
Oh, because it's a very. It would be like a whole You know what? You want me to break it down for you?
I think
we
can talk
like,
this
we
week.
Have like
this week on
10
Animal
minutes
Planet.
This week on Animal Planet, because we're talking about animals. Have you ever had a crazy neighbor?
You know, I've been blessed. I haven't had crazy neighbors. The last place we lived did have a neighbor that had a dog. What was that dog's name? Dundee?
Oh, I remember that dog. Or
yeah,
something.
and my dogs would bark at it. Merrick was friends with a neighbor, and the dog did bite Merrick. And, Merrick handled it okay. It didn't grow a lot of tension between us and the neighbor, but we knew better. Don't hang around Dundee. I guess that was it. But I've never had a crazy neighbor, but I know what you're about to tell me, because we were at the pool and you were telling me, so tell us.
I'm going to tell you right now, and then I'll go into it next week some more. This neighbor is off her freaking rocker. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, So we live out in the country. We live on a dead-end road. And our backyard butts up to their backyard, but in between it is their big, huge pond. So we have they have a ton of ducks and geese and all that bullshit down there. And but they have a fence and brush, so my dogs cannot get anywhere near their pond or their yard or anything
because of fence.
Because of a fence, it's like not an invisible fence, but like one of those wire fences, but all the brush has grown up over it.
Oh,
so they keep,
it's not super visible.
Yeah. So we always joke because they always have different colored ducks. Like they have the brown ones, all the white ones, and then the black ones. And we're always joking oh, the Sons of Duckery are out today. The Mexican
the Crips
ones
and the Bloods
from Sons of Anarchy are chasing the white ones down and cornering them over in the corner.
Here
and
comes the mallard ducks.
We'll sit outside for an hour and just replay play this out in our head. The Duckery's out today, Anyway, we're weird.
She's often drunk.
But yeah, I do drink a lot. But so anyway. Okay, so I wake up one morning and, 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. And there are geese in my backyard. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And it's a mom and a dad and 5 baby geese. And I'm like, oh, you guys need to get over there.
Get to the pond.
Get over to the pond. Because I have 2 pit bulls. And
they will murder you.
My one pit bull, Oliver, he, like I said, he will be like, BFFs, let's,
yeah.
I love you guys, let's play. My other pit bull, Lily, she will be like, oh my god, it's appetizers,
right? Thanksgiving
and a main course. Hell yeah, I've watched her kill a cat,
squirrels.
I've watched her kill groundhogs, raccoons, and once she starts, how they are,
she's like a werewolf.
She's not a werewolf, but anyway, so I'm like, oh my god. So, okay, so there's us here, and then you go down the road, and then there's the crazy neighbors, and they're very, very religious and old. And when I say religious and old, okay, nothing against religion. I go to church on Sundays.
Obviously, we're old. Golden girls.
However, they have been kicked out of a couple churches in the area. I mean, almost kind of religious fanatics. So, there's us, them, and then the other neighbor who I have made friends with, her name is Kelly. And so, she texts me and she's like, girl, have you seen those freaking geese around here? I'm like, they're in my backyard right now, shitting all over my backyard. My dog wants to go out and roll around in it. Both my pit bulls are white. It's not a good situation.
Plus, one of them wants to murder everybody.
So, I go out and I'm like, okay, we need to fix this situation. Because I can't let my dogs out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go down and fix this situation. I'm going to handle this. So I walk down the road, on this dirt road that we live on, and it's so funny because the geese see me and they start following me. I didn't realize that geese will fall in line. You know what I mean? And follow
Jen's
you.
like the Pied Piper.
And I was walking down the road and they're all behind me, So I need to back up because there was only one adult and 4 babies left. Because I came home the day prior to that, and one adult and a baby was splattered all over the road in front of my house. So I instantly was pissed. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is not okay. Because, geese mate for life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God. So I literally went out to the road and I was getting ready to pick it up and put it on the side of the road. And one of my neighbors came down and he stopped and did it for me. I'm like, oh God, thank you. So the next day, okay, I'm over it. Like, they're over in our yard. We need to fix the situation. So I walk down and I'm like on the side of the road. I don't want to really go on their property because they've got cameras and they're crazy. I've heard all the neighbors on my road are like, oh my God, these people are nuts. So I go down, I see the guy in the backyard. And I'm like, hey. Meanwhile, the other neighbors texted me, they have a baby deer caged in the backyard, right? And I'm like, they're not allowed to do that. That's like, in the state of Ohio, that's illegal. They're not allowed to do that shit. And I was like, a baby deer locked in a crate? Baby? I'm like, oh, okay, hello, who do I want to call? Animal control.
The warden?
Not the warden, but, what's it called? Game warden.
Oh.
So, I'm like, oh my God. So I go down, I flag the guy down, he's in the backyard.
Don't they have like a whole gate closed?
They have a gate.
That's why they couldn't get in.
They have, at their driveway, they have a gate that's electric. It's all the way to the ground, all the way up. There's no way to get on these people's property whatsoever.
And they're like, babies are like, not hatchlings, they're like preteens.
They're preteens. So I'm walking down there and they're literally behind me like, I was like, come on guys. And they're literally making that noise, Merrick, yes. So I'm like, oh my God. So I get down there and I'm like, hey. So he finally moseys over and I'm like, hey, you and I have a problem. We have a problem. And he's like, what's the problem? I'm like, and at this point, they're all walking around me. I was like, this is our problem. And I was like, now they're over my yard. Why are they not in your pond? He's like, well, these are
Canadian
geese and they're wild. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't give a shit.
I have like they're 50 or 60 at my house.
European geese. I don't care. I've seen geese like this in your pond. Why are we
judging the ethnicity of the geese?
Why are you being racist? Right now, I don't understand. So we go back and forth. I said, open the gate now. I literally said that because I was pissed. And he was like,
the only reason why he did it is because his wife controls the life, and he's like scared of all women, so he's like, okay.
Oh, yeah. So I was like, listen, you need to open this gate right now and let them in. Because all you have to do is open the gate, and they go, So eventually, I was like, let them in. I'm like, let them in. One of the adults and the babies already are dead. I'm like,
my pit bulls are going to freak out.
He said, you need to call the game warden. Like, real snarky.
Oh, I'll happily call the game warden, motherfucker.
Oh, he said it real snarky. I was like, I already did. And then I saw him go like that, and I was like, I literally just got off the phone with them. And I was like, unfortunately, there's something that they can do. But they can do something about the baby deer locked up in your backyard. And the gate fucking opened.
Open sesame.
And I was like, come on, guys. And they're like, we're running right to the pond. And I was like, thank you.
The gate goes up, and he's in divorce court.
Then he says to me, well, we haven't been able to do anything since you guys moved in here because of your dogs. I said, no, that's not true. My dog cannot get on your property. They do not leave my yard. And which, by the way, if I catch your wife one more time taking a picture of my dog sunbathing in my yard, I'm going to break her finger so she won't be able to use her phone anymore. How about that? I literally said that to him.
Pit bull pervert. Remember you said a TikTok of the guy with the cat? Cat pervert.
This lady drives, and from what I understand, she's scared of huge dogs. My dogs have been minding their own business.
Because like us, that's all they want to do.
All they want to do. They're old. They lay in the sun. They don't go off the road. They don't go
one
down
has
the road.
A whole boulder on its
I know. I caught her taking pictures. She's called the dog warden on me 3 times because they go to the bathroom on the side of our house, not even near them. It's none of her business where they go in a wooded area, and then there's a cornfield. Leave them the fuck alone. They're not going in your yard. And so the last time the dog warden came, I opened the door. I swear with everything, I looked at her and I said, if you tell me that crazy bitch called you about my dogs, you could turn around and go tell her to, I don't want bleep, 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 bleep. And even
all the bleeps.
Even the dog warden started laughing. She's like, girl, I gotta tell you. She's like, she sent a video. She emailed us a video of your dogs in the wooded area on the side of your... I'm like, they're allowed to be in the wooded area. That's our yard.
Right. It's called our property.
It's called our property. And she was like, I know. I said, go tell her that she can bleepity bleep, 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 bleep. And
all the bleeps.
So I said, and if you don't, I will. And so, long story short, anyway, so... I get up the next morning, the ducks are in the pond, they're swimming, they're loving life. I'm like, this is the way it's supposed to be.
They're finally moist.
I'm looking out the window, daydreaming, and then I see a baby deer in my yard. And I'm like, oh my God, they let the baby deer out.
Because you had done called the popo.
And now the baby deer's mom is gone.
Because it's been dead.
It's probably shot hanging on somebody's wall.
Taxidermied.
And the baby deer is now looking for its family, has no family.
But the pit bulls.
And now, I called my neighbor, I said, guess what's in my yard? I sent her a picture. She's like, oh my God. So then she sends me a text the other day. She's like, that baby deer is just leaning up against the fence of the neighbors, wanting to get back in.
Oh my God, that's Stockholm Syndrome.
It
fell in love with its captor.
I sometimes feel like that. Well, that's another
you
story.
Have fully fallen in love with your captor. Called your boyfriend.
So anyway, so now we're like, what do we do with this baby deer? So then she texts me and she says, I think the baby deer found its mom. And I'm like, oh yay, that's exciting. Well, then her boyfriend comes down. I bartend at a local little bar by where I live on Tuesday nights. Her boyfriend and son come down, and I was like, yay, I'm so happy. And he's like, it's not the mom. We just told her that to make her feel better. We think that it left it again, and we're not telling her. And I'm like, why are you telling me? Oh my God, no, I have to tell her.
Protect me. I need to be lied to on a regular.
That's it. So I was like, I'm going to go buy corn and start feeding this baby deer.
You now have a deer.
So I don't know where it's went. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the ducks. So anyway, I have to tell you, you were with me. I don't know. Merrick, do I have time to go into this? Because
oh, my bad.
Yeah, we don't know anything. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier.
Yeah, keep going.
So, Rebecca and I are laying out, right down the road from us is the Mohican Lodge.
It's a beautiful lodge.
Beautiful lodge.
Yeah, our state lodge.
In a state park. And they have a nice pool, so we like to go there and lay out. So we were having a day, just having some drinks and laying out.
We're the Tipsy Two.
Exactly. And so after all this went down and I go over to this guy's house and he lets the ducks in and stuff, or the geese, I'm sorry. I get a private message on Facebook.
I know. This ruined our fucking night, our day, because you started angry texting.
Listen, don't come at me about any animals or anything. I promise you I'm not the one. It
sends her into orbit.
I promise you.
A problem. Meanwhile,
I get a message from this lady that says, you have made us stay on our property for the past 6 years that you've been in there because of your pit bulls, blah, 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 blah. Stay away from my husband. Stay away from my property. Stay away from my children, my grandchildren. Lady, I'm not married, but she is, okay?
And clearly you're coming for me.
So basically, my neighbor who had no idea who I was, what my name was, somehow found me on Facebook, which is scary and gross. And
stalker.
So I immediately went into, when I'm laying out, I lay on my back. I'm laid out like this. I want all of the sun. I never flip on my stomach because I just want all the sun right here. Immediate flipped on my stomach.
And so I'm power texting. And I'm
and she's talking to me and I'm just and I literally started the conversation. I was like, who the hell do you think you are? And I just went off. I went off on this lady so bad. I said, don't you ever contact me. Don't you ever tell me what to do.
She was doing all these things and she goes, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. I go, whoa, you sound like you're threatening her, which is all the evidence she needs to take to the police. So let's word this differently. And I'm like, now I'm wrapped in.
So I did word it differently. But I did tell her if she ever comes by my house again and takes a picture of my dogs minding their own business, laying in their own yard, I'm going to run out there and grab her phone and break her finger so she will never be able to text or take
And I'm
pictures
like,
again.
that's not what we're going to say.
I absolutely will freaking do it too. I'm crazy about my animals.
I spend my whole day wishing a motherfucker would.
Oh, she does. So then we go back and forth. She proceeds to tell me that I am the devil.
Yeah,
I am a demon. Stand behind the demon as I lead you into... I said, oh, okay. You know what? You want
love
to quote...
thy neighbor.
You want to quote? I'll quote. I'm immediately Googling quotes. Or
we don't know religion. Love thy neighbor.
I said, what happened to love thy neighbor? And she goes, ha, 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 ha. You certainly don't know how to love thy neighbor. And I was like... What happened to loving all of God's creatures? Let those
with
fucking
Bambi, with Bambi in a cage.
You took Bambi away from its mother. Like,
for what though?
I'm literally like, yeah. What were they gonna do with this poor baby
That's what
deer?
my question was. But you were on a roll, so I was like, let me just.
Oh my god! So we went back and forth. Finally, I was like, I could feel the rage coming up, and I could, like, a lot of times,
like 2 more shots.
I like am very erratic sometimes, and I do stuff before I think about it. And that's just, like in an interview, people are like, what's your, your, what do they say? Like, what's your weaknesses? I am very erratic. I'm irrational a lot of times. I do a lot of stuff before I think about it. Like stuff
like in a job interview.
I literally
I
literally told Darren, I said, this bitch, okay, I will take it so far as to put on a red cloak at night with a pitchfork and just stand in front of her house. Like
strangers.
On the road. Not on her property, but like strangers, and just stand there and stare at her. Don't mess with me about my animals. Call me a devil. Call me the demon. You want to see it? I'll show it to you.
I'm happy to go to jail over some animals.
I will skip to jail over my animals.
I wear a size 4 jumper. Orange is really not my color.
It's not my color either, but maybe we will work on that. But anyway, so at the end of the day, I told her, I was like, if you ever contact me again, if you ever Facebook message me, if you text me, if you come by my house, if I ever see you drive slow past my house, you will regret it. And yes, I did threaten her. And then I immediately went down to the town Barney sheriff in our little tiny town. I let him read all those, and I let him read mine too, because I was like,
really almost
I need to let you know what's going on.
I mean, you almost have a restraining order. You have enough evidence.
And he said, you can do a restraining order on her. And I'm like, I'm not going to go that far. But I just want to document, like, what is going on, what's happening, what she's calling me. I want you to see that I did tell her I'd break her fingers, like, anything like that.
Right, so, if I get pulled over, I already know the drill.
But, I mean, how crazy is that? These people, I swear to God.
All because we wanted some geese to get water.
Like, all I was trying to do was get the geese to get into the water.
It was like 90 degrees.
They've already witnessed the mom and their brother or sister.
The massacre.
Be run over. And
probably by them.
Probably by them.
Because they don't give a F.
So, like, just give them a break. Like, and the game warden was like, oh, they'll grow their wings here in, like, 2 weeks. I'm like, 2 weeks?
Off. Yeah.
Not 2 weeks. My dog's like, he's like, you have to take your dogs out on leads. I'm like, no. You don't understand. I live in the country. I let my dogs out. Like, like, they like to go run around, you know?
I'm in the country, so I don't really have those laws to abide. They don't have to be on leashes.
But, this lady is crazy. The neighbor beside her, Kelly, she has called the fire department on them because they have a actual fire pit that is legal. Burning stuff. Called the fire department on them 3 times. And every time the fire department comes, they're like, lady, listen, they're abiding the law. They have a hose ready. They're not doing anything wrong. Well, then, they also had, like, Kelly had a bulldog, like a big bulldog. Well, it was older, but it suddenly passed away. And she's like, Jennifer, I wouldn't be surprised if she threw something over the fence.
And poisoned them?
And I was like, oh my God. So I told the dog warden, I said, how do I know that she's not going to drive up here with a piece of meat with poison in it or something, throw it in my yard, my dog goes out there and eat it? Because if I find out that something like that happens,
I'll be visiting you in jail.
We'll be doing the podcast from prison.
Oh, that would be such a good segment.
Prison.
I mean, I never wanted to say this because I know it'll only encourage her, but, like, we have set funds aside for your bail. As we know, it's gonna happen sometime or another.
I'm working.
It's in a 401k.
Regina and I are working on my temper. She's my therapist. And we are working on my temper, like the way that I perceive things and the way that I get angry and mad and, just
good
fucking stupid people. I'm working on it. So, I mean,
well,
I feel like that's a start.
You are taking a yoga class this Saturday.
We are taking a yoga class.
I don't need to take this.
It's a stillness.
I don't need to pay $45 to be still.